Let me start the recording and let me also do a quick recap of what we have covered. Will that be fine for all of you? Let me do a very quick recap on whatever we have discussed in yesterday's session so that we all are on the same page. Can we all do that? Can we all start with that? Perfect. So the topics that we have covered yesterday, all right, let me scroll down. Let me try to show you the complete agenda. This was the core agenda for our workshop. We discussed yesterday why are we all interested in data science and generative AI, and we received a lot of or variety of answers to that particular question. Some of you some of you were interested in the domain itself because of its creativity. Some of you you want to get a better job or upskill yourselves, right? Some of you uh, know that the data science and generative AI jobs are the highest paid jobs. And that is the reason why you were interested in the domain of data science and generative AI. At that time, do you remember we have also conducted a poll where we asked you a question, what is your experience in data science? And do you remember who had the highest vote? Somebody remembers who had the highest vote yesterday? Voice is not audible. Is my voice audible to all? Are you all able to hear me? Yes, thank you. Yes, correct, correct. So the students with no experience or the students who have only the experience to study, they are only studying data science for less than 12 months, they voted like they were the highest voters yesterday, right? There was very small portion of people who were having some work experience, right? I think there were 3 to 4 people out of 150 people yesterday, right? So that is how the whole um, uh, like uh, like the entire audience was, right? At the same time, we also discussed yesterday what is AI. We also discussed about what is machine learning and what is deep learning. Can I do a quick one slide review or a recap of what happened yesterday in these two topics, topic number 3 and topic number 4, where we discussed about AI versus ML versus DL, and we also discussed about the real-time applications. Let me try to quickly do that as well. You remember this? We have already discussed about this entire slide, right? You remember yesterday we discussed about something called as AI. And in order to understand AI, I took an analogy where I discussed about something called as what? I discussed about something called as artificial satellite versus natural satellite. Everybody knew that natural satellite, right? Natural satellite, one of the very good examples of natural satellite is moon, right? At the same time, you also were able to identify what is an artificial satellite, and all the satellites launched by organizations like ISRO, NASA, and other space agencies, they are all nothing but artificial satellites. Do you all agree with that? Right? And what this helped us understand was, this helped us understand what is the difference between of the word natural. Natural means nothing but something which is created by nature, right? Created by nature. And artificial, the word artificial means nothing but created by a man, right? Created by a man. Or man-made object, you can call it. Man-made entity or an object. Isn't it? Right? So we already discussed about all of this yesterday, and from there we also took an example to understand what AI is. You remember artificial satellite. What is artificial satellite? From its definition that we wrote yesterday, it is a machine which tries to mimic, what? Which tries to mimic the behavior of natural satellite. Correct? It is a machine that tries to mimic the behavior of natural satellite. Plus, at the same time, it facilitates few extra things for us, right? You remember communication. Will it be possible for us to communicate over long distances without artificial satellite? Will it be possible for us to track our location without having artificial satellites out there? And the answer to that is no, right? We won't be able to do all of this without the help of artificial satellite. We are not trying to create something which is a, this is a moon, right? And we all know moon is nothing but natural satellite. Are we trying to replace a moon? Are we trying to replace the moon or any other celestial object when we say that I have to create artificial satellite? No, right? Guys, are you all able to understand this? When I say that I have to create an artificial satellite, right? Maybe an artificial satellite, I'm just trying to mimic the behavior of this natural satellite, but I'm not trying to replace it, right? I'm not trying to remove it from the picture. The whole idea about artificial satellites is to provide me some extra additional things. For example, it facilitates the communication, the GPS part and all, right? So this is how like artificial satellite, we understood the entire context of AI, like from that artificial satellite and natural satellite. The same way, when I talk about AI, right? Before AI, we took an example of NI, natural intelligence. Can you remind me what was that example of natural intelligence? What was the example of natural intelligence? You remember? It was nothing but human brain. Perfect. Right? Now, when I say that I have to create AI, am I trying to remove natural intelligence from the entire context or from the picture? Am I really trying to remove the entire concept of natural intelligence? No. What I'm doing is I'm trying to simply make a machine, right? You remember making a machine that mimics the behavior of natural satellites. Instead of natural satellites, now I'm going to make a machine that mimics the behavior of something called as human, or which mimics the human intelligence. Now, what are we going to achieve by mimicking this human intelligence? Before this example, I took the example of artificial satellite. What did we achieve? What did we facilitate by mimicking the behavior of natural satellite? We facilitated something called as communication. We facilitated something called as GPS, location tracking, and many more things, right? Same way, if I try to say that I'm going to make a machine that mimics human intelligence, what are we trying to facilitate over here? We are trying to facilitate some tasks which requires a lot of manual intervention, right? We are just trying to facilitate, we are trying to simply automate certain tasks that will help us be more productive. For example, do you agree that we are very good at we are very good at driving the car? We are very good at playing a video game? Do you agree that given an email in our Gmail or Outlook or any other mail client, can I just by reading the mail identify whether that email is a spam email or not a spam email? When I talk to my friends, when I talk to my family, will I be able to identify the emotions behind their speech or behind their texts that they are sending me? Yes or no? Are we all able to do that? Yes or no? Tell me that. Are we all able to do that? Perfect. Similarly, can I also, like, as a human being, do you agree that we all come inbuilt with face detection and face recognition kind of features, right? Isn't it? So these are the things that are already there inside a human being. We can easily do this because of our certain skill set, right? And because of our intelligence, right? Without intelligence, can I learn a skill set? Without intelligence, will I be able to learn a skill set? Yes or no? No, right? And what helps us learn a skill set? The intelligence helps us to learn the skill set, right? When I talk about driving a car, it is something that requires a certain set of skills, right? I can't without a skill set drive a car. I can't play a video game without having certain skills, right? And so on. The list goes on. Now the question is, now the question is, I don't want a human to do these tasks. Instead, I want a machine to do these tasks. For example, you remember, we have already discussed that when I talk about driving a car, we have already seen that Tesla has created that, right? Tesla has created a machine. Tesla has created a machine that can drive itself, right? But it is not 100% fully automation or 100% complete, like end to end, it is trying to basically do the self drive. Definitely, there is a human assistance required. It is just mimicking few easier paths. Maybe it can drive itself in a self-drive mode. But when it comes to some difficult situations, for example, let's say there is a road, right? And you are driving your car. Let's say this is a car which is basically driving on a self-drive mode. What if, what if suddenly somebody tries to cross the road in front of you and there is no traffic light over here? Somebody is trying to cross the road and there is no traffic light over here. Now, is the car going to still do its job of self-driving, or is it going to ask human to take over? What do you think is a better idea over here? If you have a software, if you have a like computer installed in the car which can make car self-drive, in this situation where there is no traffic lights and a human is trying to cross the road, is the car going to ask human to take over, or is the car going to still drive? What if there is some serious accident happens because car was on a self-drive mode? So what typically happens is, in these situations, any self-drive car simply will ask the human to take over. All right. It will simply ask the human to take over, irrespective of what self-drive car it is, because this is a very difficult situation for a self-drive car to handle. Right. And in case if some tragedy happens, the cost of that mistake is going to be very, very, very big. And companies like Tesla has to pay that cost. Are you all able to understand this? But do you agree, as a person who is driving the car, as a human who is driving the car, this is a very simple situation to handle? Do you don't you agree with that? Right? This is a very simple situation to handle. In India, if you try to see the road's condition, it is not just humans who will come to the road or to the main highways. Even the animals can anytime come on the main highway, and we are very intelligent enough, at least, to handle those kind of situations where anything is coming on the road and we are able to basically dodge it or we are simply able to like handle those kind of situations. Do you all agree with that? Yes or no? Right? But a very simple situation can be a little difficult for a self-drive car to handle. So in that case, are you really going to think about this invention as something that is going to take your jobs? No, right? It will not take your job until unless you think straight, right? What is it going to really do? It is going to really bring a revolution where you will be able to do your job with more productivity. Guys, are you all able to understand it? Right? You will be able to do your job with more productivity. For example, if I talk about self-drive car, do you agree that in case if you get a very important call, what is like expected out of you as a driver? Are you really supposed to pick a call when you are driving? Or are you supposed to stop the car and take the call and then again start driving? What is really expected from you? What do you think about it? Are you really supposed to pick a call while driving? Yes or no? No, right? But if your car has self-drive mode, can you simply put the car on self-drive and still pick the call? Isn't it yes or no? So it is like an assistant that is helping you out in these situations, right? Guys, are you all able to understand it? Right? It is not going to take your job. What it is going to do is it is going to facilitate, it is going to give you a lot of productivity because you'll be able to save your time in all these basic um, uh, things, right? Now, the question is, will AI really take your job? And we already discussed about this as well yesterday, right? What was the answer to that? The answer to that is no. All right. The reason why you keep on seeing this kind of a post online, because this is a clickbait. All right, this is a clickbait, and many people basically fall under a trap of clicking on these kind of advertisements. So that and there are so many media channels and many social media influencers who will take these kind of statements so that it can become popular, or maybe they can gain some likes like that. All right. So try to understand that. Always remember that a human who is using AI will definitely take your job. A human who has knowledge of AI will definitely take your job. Do you agree that 50, not even 50 years, like 20 to 30 years before today, when there were not many computers out there was so much manual work that used to be done, right? Before computers, there was a lot of manual work that used to be done. For example, managing maybe your business, maybe inputs and outputs, right? Let's say you are handling a business and you have to manage the inputs and outputs of your business, right? Inflow, outflow, if you can relate to that, right? How much you are making and how much you are spending. Let's say you have to manage that before computer era. How you used to manage, or how people used to manage before computers era? You remember there were something called as ledgers that people used to use before computers era in order to manually manage that entire stuff. Do you remember that? Yes. It was not even file. It was like a notebook system, ledger system that a notebook, hard notebook used to come, and they used to make an entry how much they are making in a register kind of a stuff. Correct, right? So in a register, they used to manage. They used to keep the entries of each and every single transaction that happens in their business. But is it really viable option right now in 2024? Is it really a good idea to keep a register to note down each and every single transaction your business is doing? Why? Because it is very difficult to uh, uh, like uh, uh, to make sense out of that data, right? Instead, if that data is available on the computer, if that data is available on the computer, will it be then easier to make sense out of entire data, how the business has performed and all that? Guys, what do you think? What do you think? Everyone, I need at least an answer, yes or no, from all of you. This is a Sunday morning. Even for me, it is a Sunday morning. So let's be more interactive today so that it also gives me a little motivation to continue this session. All right. So, yes. So, what do you understand from this? Now, who actually, a person who was managing a ledger, right? A person who was managing a ledger, who was completely ignoring a computer or computer with Excel software, right? My question is, who is having the job crisis, or who is going to face the job crisis here? Who is going to get into the risk of losing the job? A person who doesn't know any computer knowledge, or a person who knows computer and Excel software? Who will lose the job? Person A or person B? Definitely person A is going to lose the job, right? Why? Because businesses are going to adapt to this particular idea, right? Businesses are definitely going to like an idea of having a computer and Microsoft Excel installed on the computers, and a person who knows how to handle that. On the other hand, a person who has been naive to see the innovation and to appreciate what is out there, the person is definitely going to lose the job sooner or later, right? Right? The same way, the question is did computer and Excel took your job, or person who knows computer and Excel took your job? Who took your job? What do you think about it now? The person who knows about the technology, they took the job, right? Same way, if you as a human, you are not allowing yourself to learn AI, more chances are that there is a very high chance that we are going to lose the jobs. Do you know? Let me try to take an example, a very good example over here. Before Chat GPT, before Chat GPT, I had many friends who were working as a content writer. Everybody knows what is a job called as content writer. Yes, correct, Pratik. Everybody knows, right? Again, see, now you are saying that all the jobs related to content writing has gone. No, the content writing is still there. The content writing is still there. Yes, definitely beginner level content writing is gone. But do you know that all of these people who were doing content writing, you know what happened? People who were naive to adapt to something called as Chat GPT. What is Chat GPT? Can I say Chat GPT is an example of AI? Can I say Chat GPT is an example of AI? Yes or no? Yes, right? It do all the tasks, right? It do a lot of tasks that humans do with their natural intelligence. It can do communication, right? It can do conversations with you. It can do something called as email writing for you. It can do something called as maybe article writing or content writing for you. Now the question is, who is going to lose the job? A person who was a core content writer and a hater of AI and who doesn't want to upskill himself, or a person who was a content writer and respects innovation and understands the long game over here, and he or she learns to use Chat GPT for content writing. Who will lose the job here? Again, person A or person B? A will definitely lose the job here, right? And that happened. That happened. And I have seen many, many situations, many, many cases of people losing the job. And the main reason for them to lose their job was they were not allowing Chat GPT as an assistant to help them. But GPT, see, that is correct. GPT will not give you the right answer. That's why your skill of content writing plays a picture, right? If you are a good content writer, you know what is right and what is wrong. So what you can do is, earlier, maybe because you were doing the entire content writing, let's say before Chat GPT era, do you agree that content writing must be taking a lot of time for people to do without Chat GPT? But now you know what has happened? In a single day, a good content writer with Chat GPT, with the knowledge of Chat GPT, you know, in a single day, they are able to do their month's job. And I've seen many like use cases around it. Many people losing job, like getting better at this job of content writer writing because of AI. Now, what happened? Again, is AI taking your job, or is human with the knowledge of AI taking the job? Yes, it definitely saves the time. You remember automation, right? It automates certain dumb tasks for you so that you can spend your time in more productive tasks. Huh. And you know what? People are not even editing these LinkedIn posts that they are putting on the social media, right? They're not even editing. And it is required, right? Yes, all of them have common words. And the best part is, if I ask something to Chat GPT will say something like this. Here is your answer. Something like this, Chat GPT. Just give me a. Yes. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Yes. So what I was discussing just now, I mentioned that a person who is using AI will definitely take your job, right? And we were discussing about this situation where people are not even editing their Posts, right? So normally when you ask ChatGPT something, it will say, here is your answer, or something similar to that will be there in the first line, right? Right. And they will simply copy paste that here is your answer also. And they will put the entire thing in the chat, in the comment. Yes, and the quotations as well. Correct. Right. So from our side, are we machines? Machines are dumb, right? Machine can't think, machine can't make decisions without any AI inbuilt. So what is really happening is, because of AI, the biggest fear that I have is the biggest fear that I have is can you tell me 10 years back what used to be dumb? There are two images I just drew in front of you. What used to be dumb, the left side part or the right side part? The second one, right? Machines are dumb. They do not have any intelligence on their own. Humans are intelligent. Humans are intelligent. So the biggest fear over here is it should not get reversed, right? It should not get reversed. It should not happen that the machines which were dumb 10 years back, they become intelligent, and at the same time, humans becomes dumb. All right. How will the world look like with that kind of a situation? It will be very bad. And the reason why I'm making this strong statement is because many of us are doing these small mistakes, right? You must have seen one of your friends must have done this. It is that common. One of your friends must have done this for sure. If you are using LinkedIn, somebody you must have definitely seen doing these kind of mistakes if you have been observant. So what we should do is, at least if we are utilizing AI, right? Try to utilize it as your assistant. Try to utilize it as your maybe helper, right? Try to always take that output from the AI and try to cross check whether everything looks fine or not. I hope I made my point clear over here. Is everybody able to understand till this point? Coming back to the previous slide, you remember that we also discussed about these kind of things which are done by either chat GPT or some other AI, generative AI application, right? These are the applications like email writing, article writing, creative image, song writing, right? These are the kind of tasks that requires not just intelligence. Can an intelligent person do songwriting? No, right? It requires a certain amount of skill set as well, right? But now what can happen is, given that we have built generative AI models as well, earlier we had AI models. Earlier we were able to basically solve these kind of tasks. But since past 3 to 4 years, we have also started data scientists have created artificial intelligence which can also do something called as generative tasks like writing an email, writing an article, generating an image, writing a song, right? These kind of tasks are also becoming every day, every single day. These tasks are also becoming easier and easier for the AI models to solve. That is very good, Arshad. I will discuss about that. That is a prompt engineering skill, right? So we as humans, we should learn prompt engineering for sure, right? We should understand the prompt engineering concept for sure. And I'll discuss about that in another 15 20 minutes. Now, do you remember again? Please, guys, let's try to focus once again. We just saw what AI is. We just saw examples of tasks that humans used to do. But now who can do these kind of tasks? Do you agree a computer can do a task like this? Like all these tasks that are written on the screen, these tasks and 100 or 1,000 more tasks can be done fluently by a machine nowadays. Guys, are you all able to understand it? Have you ever seen a job like a person, like a doctor, right? Do you agree in order to become a doctor, a person has to go through a lot of study? They have to basically do a lot of practice, and then only they become a doctor. Isn't it yes or no? Have you ever heard about this job, lawyer? Now, is it easy to become a lawyer? No, right? A lot of study, a lot of practice is required to become a good lawyer. Do you know right now, generative AI and the old AI put together, it can solve tasks that doctors are expected to solve at much higher precision. With much higher precision, AI, for example, there was one study done on detecting skin cancer. This is not today. This was back in 2017. Detecting skin cancer. Now, do you agree in order to detect skin cancer, you require specialization? Specialization, as in you need to go to a doctor who specializes in skin or derma, right? Dermatology. Guys, are you all able to understand it? Right? Now, you know what has happened? Back in 2017, a team of researchers, they have already created a smartphone app, an app that can take your skin photo and it can identify whether you have a cancer or not. Just by using something called as smartphone camera without the need of any doctor, we were able to do much better job compared to a doctor even after getting the scans. Huh. But that is something that is completely like we don't know whether that will happen or not, but definitely again, robots as an assistants are getting utilized nowadays also for simple procedures, not exactly the complete surgery. Okay, every big hospital, every big institute, they have started utilizing robotics in order to perform basic surgical, not exactly the complete surgery, but at least the basic things they have started experimenting, they have started utilizing. Right? Again, is it really a robot who is going to take the doctor's job there? No, right? It is simply an assistant to a doctor. Same way, when you talk about lawyer, nowadays with generative AI, if I know the technology called as generative AI, I can be like I can create a much better lawyer that I can find in my city. Just the only thing is I need to have relevant data and I need to know this generative AI technology. If I know that, I can build softwares, I can build computers intelligent to work like a lawyer or to give me insights like a lawyer. Isn't it interesting for you as a person who is having no experience with the law? Yes, right? Just try to imagine the benefit of this kind of a thing in places where there are no good lawyers, maybe rural areas. Just try to imagine the situation. Do you agree that all the good doctors will basically be there in cities majorly, right? In rural areas, these places they get impacted because of lack of skills or people with good skills. Now, if you know how generative AI works, if you know how to build generative AI applications, what you can do is you can definitely make softwares that can do similar kind of an assistant kind of a job under a doctor or a lawyer. And even those lawyers and doctors can give you really good insights with the softwares that you have created. Is it making some sense to all of you? We went very deep into the discussion, but somehow I hope you are able to follow up. You are able to understand what is getting discussed. All right. Now, these are the tasks. My question is, how do you make a machine learn these tasks? Can somebody answer that question? How do you make a machine learn these tasks? See, we are talking about machines will do these tasks. But the question is how, see, in order to do any task, for example, let's say you want to do cooking. Cooking is a task, let's say you have to do. Are you really going to cook straight out of the box? No, right? You have to first learn how to do cooking. Right. For example, one of the days we were having a joke. One of my friends was simply bragging about his cooking skills, and turned out he only knows how to boil the water, and that is what he called as cooking. He calls cooking. Okay. So what I'm saying is, if you have to do a task, you have to first learn how to do a task. Right. That is how humans behave. And the same way, machines, in order to do these tasks, we need to know how to make the machine learn these tasks. Now the question is, what is that technology that talks about making machine learn to do these tasks? Can you remind me about the technology that can make machines learn to do these tasks? See, doing these tasks is AI, but what is the technology that talks about making machines to learn these tasks? Perfect. Machine learning as well as deep learning. All right. It is machine learning as well as deep learning. Now, what happens is, instead of a person who is going to take experiences, see, we learn from experiences, right? As a person, I learn from experiences, and I have my own intelligence to understand and extract learning from these experiences. But computer doesn't have their own intelligence. And computers, they do not learn from experiences. So what we need to do instead is, we need to feed a lot of data to the computer, and we need to use something called as state of art algorithms, right? State of the art algorithms we have to use in order to make machine, right? These algorithms will make machine learn from this data. Making sense? Yes or no? Is this making sense? Yes. All right. So my question is, what is the difference between these two terms? There are two terms in front of you. What is the difference between these two terms? Data remains the same, right? But when I talk about, see, again, I'm talking about what is the difference between these two terms. What you are saying is, you are saying that deep learning is a subset of ML. And do you remember yesterday I already told you that subsets or set theory or this Venn diagram tells you only the relationship between the two terms. It is not answering that question like, how are these two different? It is simply telling me what is the relationship between these two things. So, what is the relationship between these two things? Correct, Avita. The relationship, sorry, the difference between the two things is algorithms. You remember, machine learning uses classical algorithms, which are powered by a lot of probability and statistics, plus some linear algebra, right? But now the deep learning algorithms that are used for deep learning, they are nothing but, you remember deep neural networks? I told you yesterday, deep neural networks is something that fuels the algorithms in deep learning. Yes, and we have discussed about all the various deep learning algorithms. We have also discussed about all the various machine learning algorithms. Correct? Am I making sense? Everyone, can you please revert back if it is clear till this point? Perfect. Now, to proceed forward, what I'll do is I'll try to get into the roadmap. And if you try to remember, you see this Venn diagram? We already learned about the three terms here. Can we also now discuss a little bit about data science? All right. Just give me a second. All right. So now, if you try to think about it, we have already covered what AI is, what machine learning is, and what deep learning is. And we also understand, what do we understand? We understand the relationship between the three terms, correct? Now, when it comes to data science, what data science is, I've clearly mentioned the complete definition, which is super duper easy to understand. And what is data science? It is simply about analyzing large amounts of data. And what is the purpose of the data analysis? The purpose of data analyst or data analysis, this activity is to extract some meaningful insights from the given data. If somebody is giving you data, right? If somebody is giving you data, the purpose of data science is typically to extract, yes, data driven decisions, to extract meaningful insights. And why are you supposed to, as a data scientist, why are you supposed to extract meaningful insights? The reason to extract meaningful insights is if you can somehow generate or extract meaningful insights, you can take something called as data driven decisions. Guys, are you all able to understand this? So what I'm saying is, as a data scientist, typically the job is going to be to make sure that you work on analyzing the large amounts of data. And during this activity of analyzing large amounts of data, what are you going to extract? You are going to extract insights from the data. I'm not just saying extract insights. I'm talking about extracting meaningful insights from the data. And why is it important for us to extract meaningful insights from the data? The reason or the purpose of extracting meaningful insights from the data is so that we can make data-driven decisions. Guys, are you all able to at least make some sense out of it? Given a data in Excel sheet, given a data in Excel sheet, a data scientist is supposed to go through this data and they are supposed to extract meaningful insights to take data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions that will benefit the businesses. Is that making sense to all? Yes or no? Is that making some sense to all? What is the difference between data scientist, data analyst, and business analyst? See, typically what happens is, let me try to tell you the reality of what really happens when you say data scientist, data analyst, business analyst, and all these terms. Business analyst is a term that is typically used in corporates, all right, with various different skill set. It is not just a single skill set that is typically used by a company to define their data analyst role. What they do is, have you ever noticed that whenever a job requirement comes, a job requirement will always have a job description attached with it, right? See, business analyst is something, what I've noticed myself is, whenever I see a business analyst role, there are very high chances that this role is going to be more non-technical rather than being technical, a data science role. But in some organization, They will call data scientists as business analysts or data analysts as business analysts. The three terms that you have mentioned, they're the most confused term in the entire industry, right? These are the three terms you are talking about: data science, data analyst, and business analyst. So what are these three terms? They're very simple things. They represent one or the similar kind of a stuff in all the three terms. Like all these three terms, they are typically representing one and the same thing only, but in a different context. All right. What is that different context? You have to identify that context by going through something called as the JD of a company. Sometimes business analyst is a job that can be technical. Sometimes it will be completely non-technical. They will only expect you to know basic Excel, PowerPoint, something like that in order to be a business analyst. But at the same time, they might also expect you, in some companies, they might also expect you as a business analyst to have much better knowledge about how to use Python, how to use data analysis, and all that. But when it comes to data science and data analyst, these jobs are always going to be technical. Guys, are you all able to understand this? Guys, are you all able to understand this? Yes or no? Yes. All right. So let me try to put one more page here and let me write about this point, which is a very important point. Given a data, given a data, if a person is able to, if a person is able to extract meaningful insights, all right. And what is the purpose of extracting meaningful insights? Can somebody tell me that? What is the purpose of extracting meaningful insights? We just wrote it above. The purpose of extracting meaningful insights is to make data-driven decisions. To analyze is an activity, right? When you say to analyze is an activity. See, this person is analyzing. This is an analyst, right? This is an analyst or an analyzer, a person who is going to take the data, right? Who is going to take the data and do some magic to do something called as extraction of meaningful insights. And how will these extraction of meaningful insights be helpful? They will be helpful to make something called as data-driven decisions. Making some sense? Now, the question is, let's say, what is this person doing? Can I say this person is doing analysis? Can I say that this person is doing something called as analysis? Yes or no? To extract meaningful insights, the person is doing analysis? Yes? Now, the question is, what if the person, in order to analyze, use tools like, let's say the tools required in order to perform this extraction of meaningful insights are Excel or Power BI or maybe lots of complicated statistics and probability, or maybe something like MySQL, right? Or maybe something like Python, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. You must have heard about these tools a lot of time while exploring data analysis, data science courses, right? Yes or no? Now, the question is, what if to analyze the data, what is the outcome of this analysis? Can somebody please tell me that? A person takes the data for analysis, this data, and what is the outcome of this analysis? The outcome of this analysis is in meaningful insights. Meaningful insights. See, graphs are the outcome of your tools. From the outcome, you extract meaningful insights by looking at a pie chart, by looking at a graph, by looking at a maybe pivot table. What do? You try to extract meaningful insights from those pivot tables and the graphs, right? Guys, are you all able to have you ever used Excel? How many of you have used Excel? Have you seen that in Excel there are features like generating pivot tables, there are features like generating graphs, and many more features as well, right? That are the features available inside Excel directly. You can directly use these kind of features like generating the pivot table, generating the graphs on the given data. Now, don't you think even a 10th class student, a 10th standard student, or a 5th standard student who knows Excel can also generate pivot tables and graphs? Can I start calling that 5th class student as a data analyst or a data scientist? No, right? We can't do that. How can you do that? See, try to understand that if you are able to generate pivot table or graphs, that doesn't make you data scientist or a data analyst. What really makes you data scientist or a data analyst is, do you have capability of reading those graphs? Let me take an analogy here. Can we take an analogy here to make you understand this entire thing? Can we make an analogy here? How many of you have gone for a blood test? Have you ever gone for a blood test in a hospital? Now, when you go for a blood test in a hospital, hospital is going to simply collect your blood, right? A lab technician, do you agree a lab technician is going to basically generate a report from your blood sample? Yes or no? Whatever sample you have given in the hospital, lab technician is simply going to generate the report from that particular sample. Have you ever seen the detailed blood report? Have you ever seen the detailed blood report? Yes or no? Bolo? Most of you must have already seen a detailed blood report, right? Or at least some blood report, right? Now, when you look at the detailed blood report or at least some blood report, will you be able to read and understand the report? Will you be able to read and understand the report? A little bit, right? A lot of technical or the medical jargon words, they are very difficult for us to digest and for us to understand. But at least we'll be able to make sense out of it, right? But that does that makes us a doctor? Does that makes us a doctor? Since we are able to read and understand that report, does that make us a doctor? No. Same way, if a fifth class student is able to generate pivot tables because of some software like Excel, a tool like Excel, does that make him or her a data analyst? No, right? What you should be able to do is by looking at the pivot tables and graphs, whatever report has been generated, will you be able to extract meaningful insights or not makes you a data scientist or a data analyst, an experienced person. If you are not able to extract meaningful insights, it means you need more practice. If you are able to extract insights, meaningful insights from the given data, that means that you have successfully transformed into a data analyst. Now, why is the extraction of meaningful insights important? The extraction of meaningful insights is important so that you can make data-driven decision. Guys, are you all able to understand this? For example, when you talk about this report, do you agree we as a person who doesn't have any, a guy who doesn't have any knowledge of data, sorry, this medical field, I will only look for things which are highlighted in the report. I will only look for highlighted items in the report. I will look for all the range given in the report. They will say that your blood sugar level should be within this range. They will say that your BP, blood pressure should be within this range. And many more things will be there in your like report, blood report. And you will be able to only understand what is given on the report. But will you be able to extract meaningful insights from the report? As a person who is a patient, a normal person without any medical degree, will you be able to see you have given the blood in the hospital, right? You have already given the blood in the hospital, blood sample in the hospital for some test. Lab technician generates the report for you. You can read the report and you can understand it a little bit. But will you be able to make meaningful insights from the report? No, right? Who will be able to make meaningful insights from the same report that was given to you? Who is the person who will be able to make meaningful insights from the report? A doctor, right? The same report, if you see that, and the same report, if doctor sees that, doctor will be able to make meaningful insights from the report. You must have seen more difficult reports. There are, see, blood report is the simplest report in the medical field. Have you ever seen X-rays or CT scans? X-rays or CT scans, right? Are those reports easy to read? They are very difficult to read, right? But don't you think doctor will be able to read it? Doctor will be able to analyze it. At the same time, doctor will also be able to extract meaningful insights from that. Isn't it yes or no? Doctor will be able to extract even the meaningful insights from that. And why is doctor trying to extract meaningful insight? Tell me that. Why do you think doctor is trying to extract meaningful insight from the report that is generated by the hospital? So that they can make a data driven a good decision on what medical procedure to follow to treat your condition. Guys, are you all able to understand it? For example, if somebody has a stomach pain, they should not be given headache medicine, right? If somebody has a stomach pain, will it be a good idea to give them a medicine for fever? No, right? Is this making sense? Pranay, see, there are various different level of people in this workshop. Uh, I'm glad to know that you are easily able to understand this entire thing, but there are many more people who won't be able to, who are completely naive and beginner in the domain of data science and data analysis. And it becomes a little difficult for them to understand. And for their sake only, I'm trying to be a little slow. Otherwise, this could have been discussed in a single liner as well, right? Just in the interest of everybody, I'm trying to be a little slow, but let me try to speed up a little bit uh, for your sake as well. Okay. Is this making sense to all of you, like whatever we have discussed so far? All right. So let's do one thing. Let's take a 5 minutes break and then we will continue at 12:05. And we'll try to proceed forward with more concrete topics. All right. So let's take 5 minutes break and then we will continue. All right. Is my voice audible? Cool. So let's proceed forward and try to understand the reason why we got into the discussion of this entire thing. Let me remove this. Let me remove this part as well. Now, try to understand that in order to extract meaningful insights from the data, there are much powerful tools that can do that. All right. Tools like there is something called as machine learning. Even machine learning, it is not just about automating the task, it can also be used to extract meaningful insights from the given data, right? And in order to do that, we can use Python, we can use something like sklearn library, and we can use a lot of probability, stats, we can use linear algebra, right? And calculus to perform these extraction of meaningful insights from the given data. So what I'm saying is, in order to extract meaningful insights from the given data, you can definitely use these tools, but they will have certain limitations. In order to do advanced extraction of meaningful insights from the data, you can do that with the help of these tools. These tools are not just going to help you do extraction of meaningful insights from the given data, they also allow you to do a lot of AI tasks as well. You remember, machine learning is something that do something called as AI for you. It helps you, or it helps your machines learn from the available experiences or the available data sets. Guys, are you all able to understand this? So what I'm saying is, I'm saying that in order to extract meaningful insights from the data, you can also use something called as machine learning. Machine learning, the same old classical machine learning that I discussed earlier during AI, and how to do AI. All right, the same machine learning can also be used in order to do this. Now, if a person is analyzing the data using these tools, typically that person is called as a data analyst. Guys, are you all able to understand this? Typically, like in a company, like if company decide a role of a person, they will start calling an analyst a person who is actually working on reporting and extracting of insights from the data using these tools. They will call them as analyst. On the other hand, if somebody is using this entire stack, they are typically called as data scientists. All right, I'm not saying that it is always true. That depends again completely on organizations. I've seen companies calling even this entire stack as data analysts itself, data analysts itself. That depends again on the company. Is this at least making some sense to all of you? Are you all able to understand like what is this whole thing about? Is my screen visible to all? Is the screen visible? If the screen is not visible, kindly try to rejoin the meeting. I think there must be some issue in the internet connectivity. Maybe just try to explore it. All right. So you understood the difference now, right? Data analyst and data science. Now let me try to go back and try to show you this Venn diagram once again. I hope now this might be making a little sense to you. You remember? Data analysis plus stats and probability is this part of data science. Data science also have something called as machine learning component and deep learning component included in that. And more recently, what is also getting introduced? More recently, the idea of Gen AI is also getting introduced or getting included within data science. Is that now making sense to all? Amazing. So now let's try to see the roadmap. Let me quickly, in 5 minutes, complete the roadmap. The first thing, in order to learn, what are the topics you are supposed to learn? What is the roadmap you want? You want the roadmap to become a data scientist with generative AI or without generative AI? What do you want? With generative AI or without generative AI? With generative AI. Okay. So in order to get into data science with generative AI, I will give you a generic roadmap, which if you try to follow, you will be able to get into the domain of data science with proper guidance as well. See, guidance is something that is required nowadays. Try to see if you can find a mentor who can help you learn these topics, or a mentor who can actually guide you through the entire path of becoming a data scientist with generative AI skill set. I will give you a roadmap. The reason why I will be able to give you the roadmap is because at Innomatics Research Labs, we also follow the similar roadmap to make students and freshers ready for the field of data science. And we have already seen a lot of people getting placed who follow this roadmap. And we have consulted minimum to minimum 50 to 60 data scientists across the industry, who have various different levels of experience, starting from 5 years to 15 years to 20 years experience, who also uh, uh, like agree to the fact that this roadmap can really help people transform their career. Now, what I am going to expect is, I'm going to basically put an assumption here. The assumption is the person who is going to follow the roadmap, he or she at least have basic computer knowledge. When I say basic computer knowledge, you know how to turn on the computer, you know how to use Excel, you know how to use PowerPoint, Paint, you know, basic things in a computer, right? So in order to become a data scientist with generative AI, given this assumption that you know only the very basics of computer, is this. The first thing you should do is you should learn something like Excel, all right? Because Excel as a tool can help you do a lot of data analysis, right? But I'm not asking you to learn Excel as a tool which can do data analysis. I'm just asking you to use Excel. That's it. Just try to see how Excel works. Just try to see how Microsoft Word works. Just try to see how applications like Paint works in a computer. Try to see how to properly use a browser. All right. These things you try to explore yourself. And once given that you are done, let me try to put it as point number 0. Once you are done doing this, the first thing that you should do after that is going to be to learn something called as a programming language. Now, we all know that the programming language, which is very popular in the domain of data science and generative AI, the programming language is called as Python, right? And Python has various different levels to it. When I say various different level, do you remember we already had a discussion yesterday about Python versus R? Yeah, yes or no? Do you all remember that? We already had a discussion about Python versus R in yesterday's session. We had a discussion where I told you that Python is a general purpose programming language, whereas R is only for meant for data science, right? And that was the reason why I didn't ask you to learn R. Instead, I would suggest you to learn Python, because you can use Python for various different things like software engineering. You can use it for web application development. You can use it for mobile application development, as well as data science, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI. You can use it all across the domains. Now, due to that, Python has also emerged as one of the most popular programming language in the entire world. It is the most popular programming language and most used programming language as well, because of various different uh, purposes for which you can use Python for. Now, the way to use or learn Python is first you try to learn about a concept called as identifiers in Python. How many of you know that there is something called as identifiers in Python? Are you aware that there is something called as identifier in Python? Yes. So if you are not aware, please try to learn about it. The second thing is variables and their data types. The basic data types like integer, float, just try to explore these topics if you are planning to learn Python. The second thing you need to learn in Python is something called as you have to understand how to take the inputs and how to display the outputs for the user. The third thing you need to learn is operators. Very, very important. Many people, they ignore operators, but it is very, very important for you to understand operators. Once this is done, then you should also get into the complete knowledge of data structures. Python offer various different data structures like list, tuple, set, and dictionary. Try to learn about them. After that, try to learn about conditionals. There is a concept of conditional statements in every programming language. Try to learn this concept and try to see how Python can help you implement it. The next thing is loops. Again, every programming language has a concept of loops. Every programming language has a concept of conditional statement, irrespective of programming language that you study. This will be there. If you already know some programming language, you would already understand like how to use conditionals and loops. You don't even need to get into the details of that. The next concept you should study, again, which is a common concept for all the programming languages, is something called as functions. Functions. And for Python, there is another concept called as modules. All right, just try to learn about functions and modules. At least the basics of modules needs to be learned during this time. And the last concept that you should study is object-oriented programming. Have you ever heard about object-oriented programming? Again, this is one of the concepts that is very common concept for various different programming languages. And there are some advanced level concepts. Some advanced level concepts like file handling. There is something called as exception handling. All right. And there is something called as regex, regular expressions. Again, these concepts are common for all the languages, but they are a little advanced compared to the other concepts, which are bare minimum, bare basics for any programming language. All right. So if you can learn all these things for Python programming language, you will be good to go to proceed forward for various different things like data analysis. You will be ready for something called as machine learning. And you will also be ready to learn deep learning. Not exactly you will be able to jump directly into that, but whatever is required to implement. See, Python is just a tool that facilitates the programming. All right. You do data analysis using Python programming. Again, machine learning is done using Python programming. Again, deep learning is done using Python programming. If you do not know Python programming well, learning data analysis, machine learning, and deep learning will become a little difficult from the practical standpoint, not from the theoretical standpoint. Apart from Python programming, do you know what is there in data analysis, machine learning, and deep learning? Let me try to write down the list of it as well so that you can focus on these concepts. One thing that you need to understand is something called as, you remember, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, right? These are various different Python modules. You remember basic modules you have to study, and these are Python modules that help you do something called as data analysis. And you should also have mathematical knowledge of stats and probability. And when I say stats, please do not confuse it with mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, all these basic topics. I'm talking about even the advanced statistics. Advanced statistics where topics like central limit theorem, hypothesis testing, p-test, t-test, z-values, all these concepts also play a vital role. Are you all able to understand till this point? Can I proceed for the machine learning part? Can I proceed for the machine learning part? Now, given that you have this knowledge, now let me try to put it in a proper way. All right. Given that you have knowledge till point number two, now point number two plus machine learning. For machine learning, what you need to learn? Point number two plus what? You have to learn a library called as sklearn or a module. Again, another module. This is another module that helps you do machine learning. There is another module, something called as NLTK. There is another module called as SPACE. There is another module called as PIL. You know what these modules are for? These two modules are to help you work with text data. You remember I told you about spam detection. We discussed about something called as emotion detection. In order to work with data related to spam, emotion, detection, do you remember the data you will be in the text format? It will be in the text format, English, Hindi. It can be something like Telugu or some similar kind of a text data. Now, in order to work with the text data, you need special libraries. Libraries like NLTK, Spacey, and many more libraries are out there that help you do uh, that helps you to work with the text data. Similarly, when I talk about face detection, face recognition, image data, right? For image data, there is a very popular library called as PIL that is used very heavily in the industry to solve image related problems or to start working with the image data. Is it making sense to all of you? Like, what is the speciality of each of these libraries? Guys, are you all able to understand till this point? Now, is it enough for you to learn how to use libraries? No, right? You also have to learn. Let me remove deep learning from here. I'll put it on the next page. You also need to learn a lot of maths. When I say lots of maths, you have to learn something called as linear algebra. You have to learn something called as probability and statistics. You have to learn something called as calculus. You have to learn something called as optimization theory. Now, are you supposed to learn the entire linear algebra? Answer to that is no. You should not worry about learning every single thing in linear algebra because single linear algebra course itself is a 6 months course. Right? Probability statistics again is a 6 months course. Right? Calculus again is a 6 months course. See, in order to start even machine learning, you will spend like 2 years understanding these concepts, and that is not required. All right. What is used for machine learning is a very small subset of linear algebra, is a very small subset of probability and statistics, is a very small subset of, again, calculus and optimization theory. You should not worry about spending like hundreds of hours understanding these concepts. If you have proper guidance, you can easily understand linear algebra, probability and statistics, calculus, optimization theory, all these things within a single week. You can learn about, you can at least understand these concepts. All right. In order to become master in those concepts, you might require maybe 2 to 3 more weeks, but understanding them can be done within a week itself. Am I making myself correct? I think there are few people who are already data science student at Inomatics. I think you can easily understand that this can be done, right? Probability statistics, 2 to 3 days of topic to understand how to implement in naive Bayes algorithm in machine learning and so on, right? Guys, are you all able to understand? Cool. Now, what is the next thing you need to learn? The last thing you need to learn is deep learning. All right. And in deep learning, 3 plus. When I say 3 plus means data analysis, machine learning, and even the Python programming plus. Plus what? Plus, yes, perfect. TensorFlow, TensorFlow and Keras, or or either you can use this or you can use something called as PyTorch. Both are equally popular. You can choose any one of them. At Inomatics, we focus on TensorFlow and Keras more because it is easier to learn compared to PyTorch, and it is easier to implement as well in various different scenarios, whatever we covered during our course at Inomatics Research Labs. All right. But PyTorch, from the academics point of view, PyTorch is more respected. Like if you want to get into research or if you want to get into academics, PyTorch is definitely your go-to choice. Because when you go for, see, do you agree that when you learn machine learning, deep learning, you will start working as a data science or data engineer or machine learning engineer or AI engineer? Now, during that time, whenever you create any application, applications created in TensorFlow are going to be deployed because TensorFlow provide you the framework to deploy as well compared to PyTorch. PyTorch doesn't provide you the frameworks or facilities to do easy deployments on the server compared to what TensorFlow provides us. And hence TensorFlow is more utilized for production ready systems compared to PyTorch, whereas PyTorch has a very big footprint in academics and a research community. Did I make sense there? Were you able to understand this? All right. So the choice of either going with PyTorch or TensorFlow is completely up to you. But there are very high chances that when you learn PyTorch, somehow you will get attracted to TensorFlow. And when you learn TensorFlow, you will somehow get attracted towards PyTorch. Like there is a vice versa trend that goes in people because when you learn PyTorch, you will start seeing all around you that people are talking about TensorFlow. When you learn about TensorFlow, you will see that all around you people are talking about PyTorch. And you will get confused whether to learn TensorFlow or PyTorch. And you will end up learning both the things as an experienced data scientist or an experienced deep learning engineer. Is that making sense to all? Because both of them have equal importance in the domain of deep learning or in the domain of AI. Now, apart from this, maths is very, very, very important. When I say maths, calculus and optimization theory is super duper important when it comes to deep learning. For machine learning, I won't say that is this concept of optimization and like calculus is that much important. Only for few algorithms, you require the knowledge of calculus and optimization. But when it comes to deep learning, the whole deep learning revolves around the concepts in calculus, optimization theory, and linear algebra. All right. So this is very, very, very important. This is something, if you can learn about it, you can definitely like make yourself at least start in data science domain. Because from a fresher, majorly companies do not expect you to be a data analyst, right? Do you remember that diagram I showed you earlier? You remember this, right? A fourth, fifth class student, a fifth standard student can use Excel to fifth standard student can use Excel to generate pivot tables and graphs. That doesn't make them a data scientist or a data analyst, right? You should also be able to extract meaningful insights from those pivot tables and graphs. And that really makes you a data scientist or a data analyst. Are you getting it? right? So similarly, when we talk about this job as a data scientist, if you have to do in the industry, initially people will definitely maybe expect you to have, sometimes people might expect you to have some understanding of how to extract meaningful insights, but most of the times 50% chances are there that even if you know these tools really well, like whatever tools I have mentioned over here, to learn Python programming language, what all topics are mentioned over here, what all topics are mentioned for data analyst and machine learning, and whatever topics are mentioned for deep learning, if you know all these things, there are very good chances that you'll be able to like crack your way into data science domain. Time period to do all these, see, that is a very good question. That is a very, very, very good question. Time period to do all of this, that depends. Sometimes what happens is, you remember I told you that Python is a general purpose. You remember that, Shubham? I told you that Python is a general purpose programming language. And when I say Python is a general purpose programming language, you can do data science with it. You can also do software engineering and web development with it. You know what happens? A lot of time, people who want to learn Python for data science, they will end up spending or wasting a lot of time understanding concepts that are not even required for data science in Python. Are you getting this? Yes, I will come to that. I'm almost done with all my topics. I will come to the prompt engineering now. Shubham, are you getting it? So for data science, you require the topics that are written on the screen. Majorly, you need to have at least the basic fundamental knowledge of how to use Python programming. And with experience, you keep on learning new and new things. But in software engineering, in web application development, there are many more concepts that are supposed to be learned in Python. If you want to learn Python for web development, you know how much time will you spend in Python only? You will spend up to 6 months in Python only. But if you have to learn Python for data science, within a month, you can easily go through all the topics. I'm not saying that you are going to become the expert, but you can revise and go through the entire curriculum of Python, which is required for data science. And please try to understand, that doesn't include modules like NumPy, Pandas, Seaborn, and all these Matplotlib kind of modules. I'm talking about core Python, only Python without any extra modules. Correct. If you try to study in detail, it is very difficult to complete within a single year or 2 year. All right. So you have to only learn the topics that are going to be required for you in the job. If you are like focusing on data science, it should be required for your data science role, right? It should not be, you should not mix up various different concepts just in the sake of completing Python programming. Huh. A very good question again. Is there a promising career in data science and data analysis opportunities in India? Let me try to answer that question with a small example. Um, 2 years back, not two, I think 3 years back, it is 2021. We had a student at Innomatics. We had a student at Innomatics who was from a non-IT background. I think the person, that guy, he was from mechanical background, if I'm not wrong. All right. Uh, are you with me, Dhwani? All right. Now, just because he was from a non-IT background, he was skeptic about learning data science. But the best part was since he was from an engineering background, or at least he was having a very keen interest in something called as uh, mathematics, he was able to appreciate and understand data science very well. He was able to learn data science. See, it is not just about his keen interest in mathematics. He also spent a lot of time in learning data science every single day for 6 months. Every single day for 6 months, this person has spent more than 10 hours in some cases to learn data science, right? In these 10 hours at Innomatics, he used to spend somewhere around 2 to 3 hours for his classes, right? And remaining time he used to spend in mentoring. We also provide at Innomatics mentoring. So he used to spend some time in mentoring as well to clarify his doubts in the topics, various different topics that he had, that he was going through. Now, what happened? Slowly, initially, he was not that good at data science, but given that he spent this much time continuously without stopping for 6 months, he was able to grab an opportunity as a data scientist, fresher data scientist. All right. And do you know what was the initial package? Can somebody guess the initial package? Okay, 6 LPA, 10 LPA. No, it was 2.4 LPA. Do you agree this is a very small, very, very, very poor package? Yes or no? Right? But the story is not done yet. What happened after 6 months, somewhere around 2022 beginning? You remember there were lots of cases where companies were doing mass firing. You remember? Somebody remembers that? During 2022, you must have heard that lots of companies were firing heavily. Every company, they laid off like tens of thousands of employees. This person was one of the guys who was fired from his role. Uh, at that time, he was earning only 2.4 LPA. Now, what happened? No. It was not Infosys. The company where he worked initially, the company is also completely shut down right now. It was $1 billion company, but right now that company doesn't even exist because of many things that happened in the COVID times and even post-COVID times. Now, what happened next? You remember, this person was consistent in his hard work. You remember this, right? Now, this consistency, this nice trait of this person was able to fetch him 10 LPA because of the work that he learned during the job he was doing. The experience will never go for a waste. And this is in India. I'm talking about India. All right. And right now, so this is as soon as he was fired, he was able to get the job. After 2 years today, you remember his initial package? He's earning an amount. I won't be able to give the amount, but he's earning an amount, X amount. And this amount is making him pay this much amount as taxes to Indian government. Every year he's paying somewhere around more than 2.4. He's paying to Indian government as taxes. Now, I think, see, I'm not answering the question on somebody did it. Answering the question on whether there are data science opportunities and growth in India or not. That was your question, right? Now, do you see that definitely, and I can tell you like hundreds of similar stories. Um, which will be really interesting to hear because somebody was able to make it. All right. But the question is, are you willing to, put in this much effort? This much effort is not something that everybody can put. Have you ever seen that initially when we get very excited about going to gym, maybe for a week or two, we will be very excited, pumped up to go to a gym, and will definitely go every single day to the gym. But soon, as soon as we take a single day break, what happens? We will stop going to the gym, right? That entire cycle will simply stop. Consistency is not that easy, and we can't even teach you to be consistent. This is something that you have to be yourself. You have, if you can promise us to be consistent, we as an institute, we can do a lot of magical stuff, because we have the expertise. We have the best possible trainers in the entire India to teach you data science and generative AI. All right. And with that, the fifth point, which we have recently introduced in our curriculum, after deep learning, we also going to train people in generative AI in the same curriculum that we offer earlier, data science curriculum. That data science curriculum will also include generative AI. Did I answer your question? I think somebody asked this question. Could you tell us YouTube channels to learn these topics? There are thousands of YouTube channels. See, the problem with YouTube channels is, see, there are many free resources available out there. YouTube channels are there, Udemy courses are there, right? And many more, Coursera. There are many more courses available out there, many more platforms available out there. The only problem is, let's say you are going through a topic. Data science is not that easy to understand, easy to learn. You are going through a topic, and what if a doubt comes to you? How will you resolve that doubt? Will YouTube or Udemy or any other platform be able to handle your doubts? No, right? It is not just about doubt. What about personalization of projects? Let's say you want to do a specific project that interests you. Who will help you or who will guide you personalize those projects? Resume is very important. Who will help you with your resume? That is very difficult. If you can handle all these things yourself, then definitely you just explore for YouTube, just try to search for any of the topics that I've mentioned here. You'll find like hundreds of channels available for free to learn if you can take care of these things yourself. At Innomatics, what we offer is, we offer a 6 to 9 months course on data science and generative AI, where every day we are going to deliver, Monday to Friday, we are going to deliver 2 hours session. And these sessions are going to be live, and you can opt for both online as well as offline. Right. And the session is taken by an industry expert. This is the main point. It is not just somebody from straight out the college, because when you go to these communities, channels, YouTube channels, and many more places, you don't even know whether the person who is teaching has a proper degree or a proper qualification to teach you that concept that they are teaching you, right? The instructors that we bring in, they are industry experts with 5+ years of experience. Second thing, we also provide every day, Monday to Saturday, we also provide you something called as mentoring support. Now, mentoring support is the support where, again, this will be live mentoring support. You get a one-to-one doubt resolution support here. You get project guidance. You get guidance related to assignments, right? You get all the technical queries and doubt resolution will get solved here during this mentoring session. Is it making sense to all? Are you all able to understand till this point? Yes. At the same time, we also conduct something called as uh, guest lectures. Now, what are these guest lectures? I already told you that there is going to be an industry expert who is going to deliver 2 hours of live online offline session. You can either opt for online or offline sessions. At the same time, we also conduct some guest lectures for our students. Now, what these guest lectures are, people who come with 10 plus years of industry experience in data science are going to be a part of these guest lectures. Like they will be delivering these guest lectures and they will help you understand like how whatever you are studying in the classroom is utilized in the industry. And that is very important, right? And at the same time, we also provide you mock interviews. There are going to be lots of assignments. There are going to be lots of projects, right? Apart from whatever I've mentioned above. All right. So this entire process for us takes somewhere around 6 to 9 months. If you do it yourself, if you do it yourself, then maybe it might add up 3 to 9 more months, depending upon your consistency and the kind of material you are referring to. I hope I answered that question as well. How much time does it take? It takes typically, see, if you are doing it yourself, it might be never ending process for sure. But if you are doing it under a guidance, it becomes very easy for you to go through the entire data science curriculum and data science course. All right, because at least you will have a comfort of only going through the material that has been provided to you instead of just searching for all the material that is available online. All right, because that search is never ending. All right, that is the biggest problem there. Now, enough of this entire thing. Can we now see some examples of prompt engineering? Can we quickly get into the prompt engineering part? Perfect. Now, in order to understand prompt engineering, first of all, let me try to lay down the foundational concept so that we can make more sense of prompt engineering. All right. All right. Now, if we talk about prompt engineering, do you remember that I discussed about various different companies yesterday, generative AI companies yesterday? Can you please remind me about these companies? There was a company called as OpenAI. There was a company called as Microsoft. I discussed about a company called as Google. I discussed about a company called as Meta. I discussed about a company called as Anthropic. I also discussed about a company called as Cohere. And there are many more platforms and companies available out there which provides the generative AI solutions to us, right? Now, all these companies, they have created, you remember I told you machine learning, deep learning, using that you can do generative AI. Using machine learning and deep learning, they have created some models, all right? And these models are specifically called as large language models. Large language models. Now, what are the large language models created by these companies? The large language models created by these companies, for example, OpenAI, they have created a large language model called as GPT 3.5. Right now, GPT 3.5 and 4 are very popular. So I'm just mentioning their name over here. Uh, Guys, are you all able to understand like what I am discussing over here right now? Just a quick uh, feedback on that. Are you all able to understand this? Are you all with me? How many of you want me to speed up? Is it too slow for you or should I speed up? If you are okay with the speed, you just say okay. Otherwise, you say speed up or something like that. All right. One speed up, remaining okay. Two speed up, everybody is okay. Three speed ups. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let me try to speed up a little, all right, to be uh, to take care of all these things. Now, similarly, Microsoft also has their own LLM, all right, and they have created something called as Copilot out of it. This Copilot is internally powered by other LLMs, right? So let me not try to do that, but just try to understand that Copilot, just like Chat GPT. You remember Chat GPT is something that uses internally this LLM called as GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. All right. Similarly, Copilot is something from Microsoft, and Microsoft also internally using some form of GPT. Let me try to write GPT here, right? And there's this particular thing is called as Copilot. All right. Similarly, Google also has their own LLM, and that LLM is very popularly called as Gemini. All right. And right now, Gemini 1.5 Pro latest has been very, very, very popular. All right. This is one of the most latest, most recent LLMs out there, which is gaining a lot of popularity because of its additive advantages and the kind of data it has been trained on. Meta also launched their own LLM recently called as Correct Akanksha, that is called as Llama. And Llama version 3 is recently introduced by this company. All right. They already had Llama 2, Llama 1, but now recently they have introduced something called as Llama 3. Anthropic, they have something called as Claude. And similarly, Cohere, they have something called as Command. All right, Command R plus is something which is the most recent, but I hope you got the context here, right? So these are various different LLMs that are created, that are basically used by these companies. For example, OpenAI has created their own LLM. Microsoft use their own data as well as help from OpenAI to build their LLMs. Google build their LLMs themselves. Meta build their LLMs themselves. Anthropic and Cohere also build their LLMs themselves. But Microsoft has this contract with OpenAI, with which they utilize the services from OpenAI directly in order to build their services or in order to build their models, LLM models for their company. Now, just to make you understand that, let me try to share my desktop screen. All right. Is my desktop visible to all? Is my desktop visible? Yes. All right. So this is a Windows system. On the right-hand side, you can see Copilot preview, right? So let me try to click on this Copilot preview. And if I click on this Copilot preview, you must remember that yesterday I already showed you this, right? Can you tell me this image, it is powered by what? Do you see it is powered by DALL-E, right? You see, it is powered by DALL-E. You remember that OpenAI is a company. OpenAI also owns, apart from GPT 3.5 and 4, they also own another LLM called as DALL-E. DALL-E is their LLM which works with image data. All right. Guys, are you all able to understand this? Yes or no? Are you able to understand that माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का जो को पायलट है the co-pilot from Microsoft, it is majorly powered by LLMs from OpenAI. All right, so they do their own stuff as well, but majorly they try to utilize that contract that they have with OpenAI to power their entire generative AI technology. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to go to something called as openai.com. You see, this is openai.com. And over here, what I'll do is I'll try to help you understand like how to start working with something called as ChatGPT. And we'll also try to discuss about few prompt engineering techniques which are very prominent and which are very, very, very important for us. This is their landing page. This is the landing page of OpenAI. Similarly, if you want to go to OpenAI's ChatGPT, You know what needs to be done? You go to this chat.openai.com. This website simply gives you an interface where you can directly start interacting with Chat GPT. Do you see the version of Chat GPT here? Can you tell me what this version represents? You remember there is something that this version represents. Can somebody tell me that? What does this version represents? You remember I told you that OpenAI has GPT 3.5 and GPT 3.4, right? This chat GPT 3.5 simply tells the version of LLM. Perfect. It simply represents the version of LLM. Let me click on this version. Do you see that GPT 3.5 is by default selected? I can also select GPT-4, right? And it will make my chat GPT to version 4. My chat GPT itself will go to version 4. And do you see that this GPT-4 also includes something called as DALI? You remember DALI? DALI is one of the models that comes with OpenAI. This is something that OpenAI has created. Let me try to go to one more website. This is platform.openai.com. On this same OpenAI's website itself, but on this, I will be able to basically access all the developer references. If I am a generative AI developer, I can go to this website. See, if I'm not a generative AI developer, I can go to this website and directly use ChatGPT. But do you agree, as a generative AI developer, a developer who knows generative AI, I should be able to make applications also that are powered by AI, that are powered by generative AI, right? And for that, OpenAI also provides us this particular platform, platform.openai.com, where you can find all these references. For example, if I go to API reference, I will be able to see the complete documentation of everything that I need to learn in order to become good at implementing OpenAI. But for that, again, you need to go through a lot of learning to understand how to start utilizing this particular um, thing as well. All right. But let me try to uh, can we have the recording? Yes, you will get the recording once we are done with the session. Somebody from my team is going to share the link to both the recording classes, yesterday's and today's, uh, via email or maybe via a WhatsApp message. All right. But anyhow, let me try to go back here and try to show you one more thing. Let me click on login. Let me just quickly log in here. Just a second. I'll try to log in and then I'll share the screen. Just give me a second. I'll try to log in and then I'll share the screen. All right. Is my screen visible to all? I will be sharing a link with you to fill the form. Just give me 5 minutes, 5 more minutes. I'll be done with the discussion on generative AI as well, this prompt engineering as well. Okay. I'll be sharing the link to certificate as well. Or should I send the link parallelly? I think I should send the link directly to you. You can start filling the form as well for the certification. Just give me a second. I will be putting the certification link, the form link in the chat section. You just try to get it from there. Correct, Shubham. I completely agree to that. You have many free courses available out there, but there will be some API key limitations on every website. You won't be able to utilize it properly. I would suggest you to use one thing, Shubham. Can you give a try to Gemini 1.5 Pro? Just try to give a try to that API. It will work perfectly fine. They have the access till I think 4th of May, next month, 4th. Like for one more week, you have the access. After that, that will also become paid. All right. So if you want to explore that, I would suggest you to start working on it as quickly as possible. Okay. Instead of OpenAI, try to use Gemini. And if you want to learn Gemini, you can follow me. Let me try to show you that as well. Um, Sorry, machine. Let me try to show you the GitHub link. So this is the GitHub link. Like this is, you can simply find me on GitHub. All right. And you can find this particular folder on GitHub, Machine Learning and Deep Learning by Bansal Kanav. Once you find it on GitHub, you'll be able to see generative AI. And over here, if you want to learn how to use Gemini, Google Gemini instead of OpenAI, you can directly go here and you can find it. All right. Is the link working for all of you? Like the Google form link? If you have already responded, you don't need to fill it again. All right. If you have already responded, you don't need to fill it again, Pawan. Okay. So others who have not filled it, you try to fill it now for the certification. This is just for the certification. Now, what I've done is I've not working. What is the problem you are facing, Ram Pratap? Let me try to see. See, it is working fine, no? Data Science and Generative AI workshop by Nomadics. You can simply log into your Google account and then you can fill in the details, right? It will perfectly work fine. Yes, I can share the GitHub link as well. Um, where we get the certificate, you'll get the certificate via email. I've already shared the link to the form. You fill the form and you will get the certificate via email. And this is the link to generative AI like course. So we Innovatics are the one of the first ones to do the generative AI course online and at a very big scale. We have already like almost 300 people who have graduated our generative AI course in the last week itself. All right. So we have been doing generative AI and we have been doing really good job with generative AI, delivering generative AI, teaching generative AI to people. All right. Yes, if you have filled that yesterday, Mario, no need to fill it again. All right. Cool. So this is what I've done. I've just logged into my OpenAI account. Now, if you try to see, there is a section called as models. If I go to models, do you see various different models available on like OpenAI? GPT-4, GPT 3.5, DALI, there is TTS, there is Whisper. These are various different models that you can start using from OpenAI. They have trained these models using their own resources, and you can simply pay a small amount to start utilizing their services if you want. All right. Now, let me try to come back. Yes, if you want, you can leave. I will take 5 more minutes to complete the prompt engineering part. All right. All right. So now what I'll do is I'll try to show you a few examples of generative AI. Sorry, prompt engineering. And what I'm going to start with is I will try to write something over here. Let's say I want to ask Chat GPT to do something for me. And that something is nothing but to fix a sentence for me. Let's say that sentence looks something like this. They went to the store and buy food. Can I hit enter and see what happens? If you have already responded, no need to respond again on the form, okay? So you can just leave it like that. If you have not responded on the form, you can respond on the form. Guys, let's try to do quick prompt engineering discussion here. Let me try to help you understand what prompt engineering is. See, this entire sentence, I want ChatGPT to fix this sentence. It has grammatical mistakes. I want ChatGPT to fix the grammatical mistakes in this particular sentence. Let me hit enter and see what ChatGPT is going to do. Do you see? ChatGPT is telling me that it sounds like they went to the store to pick up some grocery. Did they get everything they needed? Do you see that it is doing conversation with me instead of fixing the grammatical mistake here? It is doing something called as a quick conversation with me. It is trying to like do a followed up conversation instead of fixing the grammar. Now, the first rule of prompt engineering is whenever you have to do something, do not just copy paste. Let's say you were supposed to fix the grammatical mistakes here. Try to give that instruction properly to ChatGPT or any other generative AI model as well. What is the instruction I should say? I should simply tell it to correct the grammar of, grammar of the following sentence. Let me try to copy this. This is the sentence. And for this sentence, I want to correct the grammar. Let me hit enter and see what happens. Do you see now it looks fine? It looks perfect. They went to the store and bought food. You see that just by including one simple, like a simple statement here, a simple instruction here, I was able to do better job at asking what needs to be done, right? So it was able to perform the task very easily, very fluently, by asking this kind of a sentence to this particular model. Is data science course free anywhere? You can find thousands of free data science courses online. Now, the next thing is the first point that you all need to remember is write clear instructions. Is this making sense to all? The first thing that you all need to understand is write clear instruction. The second thing is you can also do something called as output structuring. Output structuring. There are various different ways of doing output structuring with ChatGPT or any LLM. What do I mean by that? Let me show you with an example. Can you tell me, first of all, what is the first sentence that I've written here? What is the first sentence that I've written here? Is it the instruction, yes or no? Is it the instruction? Is it the instruction that I want to give ChatGPT? Yes, right? So what I'll do is I'll try to say instruction, right? The second thing is I'll try to say this is input. This is the input I want to give to ChatGPT, and this is the instruction it should follow on that input. What am I saying? I'm saying that I can also do something called as output structuring. In output structuring, what I can do is I can simply tell, along with the instruction, I can also tell the output structure. In what output structure do I want my outcome to come? Do you see, as of now, the output for this particular prompt, this is called as a prompt. Any input to a LLM is called as a prompt. And prompt engineering is a idea to write the prompts properly so that you get relevant responses from the model. All right. Now, when I say output structuring, what will I do in output structuring? I will simply say, give me a JSON output. Let's see what happens. My instruction is correct the grammar for the following sentence. Output structure defined over here is give me a JSON output, and the input for which this instruction should be applied and output structuring should be applied is they went to the store and buy food. Let me hit enter and see what happens. Now, do you see this comes as a JSON object? I have a JSON object that contains my original sentence, they went to the store and buy food, and it also contains the corrected sentence which says they went to the store and bought food. Isn't it interesting? Right? So what we can do a lot of stuff. See, if you get into generative AI and learn how generative AI works or how these models can be utilized to build your apps, you will understand why output structuring is very important for us. It is not just the JSON I can get, I can also get maybe XML output. Guys, are you all getting this idea? Right? See, this is the XML output if you focus over here. And it is not just the XML output. I can also do many more things. For example, I can also ask this particular model to perform something like this. You remember in instruction, my instruction, let's say, is translate from English to Hindi. Let's say this is my instruction, translate the following sentence, the following input from English to Hindi. Let's say this is my instruction and my input looks something like this. How do I learn data science? Let's say this is my input. Let's see what happens if I hit enter. You see, the input was how do I learn data science, and the translated output is मैं data science कैसे सीख सकता हूँ. Right? So it is able to perform the Hindi translation. And if I have the complete idea on how to write these prompts, I can even make it do much more than simply doing something called as translation from Hindi to English, or like performing something called as sentence grammatical corrections. There are many more things you can do with prompt engineering, but for that, you have to again get into the domain of prompt engineering. You need to learn what all is there in prompt engineering. The two concepts I told you for now is you have to write your instructions clearly. Second thing is you also have the way of output structuring. There is one more point that I'll try to discuss here, and that is about prompt personas. Let me try to discuss about this particular point. The idea over here is, given an input, ChatGPT is giving an output, right? The idea here is you can also generate the output with some personality or with some persona as well. You can embed, or you can include some personality in the output of your model just by changing your instruction. Let me show you how to do that. Let's say my instruction, always write the instruction, always write the input. All right. What is your instruction? Your instruction is, let's say, answer the following question. The following question as if you are a education counselor. My query is, do you provide, let's say, input question? Do you provide data science courses? Let's say this is my query. Instruction is answer the following question as if you are an education counselor. Let's hit enter and see what happens. You see, it is able to generate a very good outcome for me. It is saying, yes, we do offer a data science course. Our curriculum is designed to provide comprehensive training in data science, covering topics like statistical analysis, machine learning, data visualization, and more. Whether you are a beginner or like to start your journey in data science, and so on and so forth, right? You have the complete answer over here. Now, what I can do is I can take this entire prompt. See, what is a prompt? Prompt is nothing but whatever I give as an input to the model is nothing but called as a prompt. What is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is nothing but restructuring your prompt in a way that you get desired outcome. You remember the first prompt I gave? This was the first prompt I gave. It was starting, like it started doing conversation with me. I wanted it to correct the grammar. And what is the way to correct the grammar? I can simply give a proper instruction instead of simply giving the input. Always remember, instruction should be given as well as input should be given. And a good way to do that is always try to write the instruction, put a colon, and try to mention what your instruction is. Then you try to give the input with a proper annotation over here. All right, that always works really well with every every model like GPT or even Gemini or other models as well. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to simply ask it, answer the following question as if you are a education counselor. Answer the following question. Let me try to say in one line, as if you are a education counselor. Do you see right now I'm getting multiple lines of outcome, right? So let me try to hit enter and see what happens. Do you see? It is simply giving me a single liner now. Yes, we offer data science course tailored to your needs. I can make it even get a persona. You remember I told you that we can add a persona as well. Let's try to see how to add the persona. Answer the following question as if you are a excited educational counselor. This is the persona I just added, right? I'm telling it that you please take a personality of an excited educational counselor. Let's see what happens or how the results look like. You see, absolutely, we offer an exciting array of data science. You see the way the language is represented over here looks a little exciting compared to the like if you try to compare it with this outcome of Chat GPT, it looks a little boring. But now, if you try to see, it has many nice words like cutting edge skills. We offer an exciting array of data science courses designed to ignite your passion and all, right? Similarly, I can also make it answer. Let me try to see what happens if I say rude education counselor. Let's see what happens. See, how many of you feel that this is rude? Yes, obviously. Can't you read the sign? We got data science courses. Are you able to see that even it is able to take the personality of a rude person, not just an excited or a friendly person, right? So you can use these simple tricks in order to basically answer your queries via Chat GPT. And this skill of writing clear instructions, and if you know how to do output structuring, and if you know how to do something called as um, personas, how to add personas, this is called as nothing but prompt engineering. And there are many more things to prompt engineering. If somebody wants to give it a try to learn about zero shot learning. Try to look into something called as few shot uh, learning. Try to look at one shot. All right. Try to look into something called as there is something called as so zero shot reasoning. There is something called as like chat GPTs are typically called as a zero shot learner. And there is a very nice paper also. Just try to have a look into that. Let's think step by step, adding, let's think step by step for any logical query. All right, just try to explore these as well. They are going to help you understand how to do better prompt engineering. In order for people who want to explore themselves, you remember platform.openai.com? If you come to this page, over here, you will be able to find, you see, guides. OpenAI directly provide a guide to a complete prompt engineering course. You can simply come here and you can read about it yourself as well. There are many examples, many things they have mentioned over here for your exploration. Just try to go through it to become much better at prompt engineering. Uh, will that help you? Like, is it helpful? Are you all able to understand what happened in today's discussion? What about others? All right. Cool. So this is all about. So I'll be concluding my workshop here now. Given that we have discussed about the data science, we have discussed about what generative AI is, we discussed about what AI is, what machine learning is, what deep learning is. We also discussed a little bit about the roadmap of becoming a data scientist yourself, or what are the offerings Innomatics provides. When will you get the certificate? By Monday, you will get the certificate. Today, the team is not available, so by Monday, you will definitely get the certificate. By tomorrow, you'll get the certificate for this workshop. My question is, how will you rate your understanding of this workshop, understanding from the workshop, or in general, how will you rate this workshop out of 1 to 5? One being very bad, poor, five being excellent. Now, see, we have joined a workshop where all of us basically learned something. What I want to do is I want to do more closed workshop as in I want to do more topic specific workshop. See, this was a very general discussion on the entire topic. Do you all agree with that? Like we just discussed about what data science is, what generative AI is, what is prompt engineering. But what if we do a workshop that is going to really help you understand a skill, a tool, and you can utilize that tool to build a project. So what I'll do is with the mail, yes, a topic specific workshop. Let me try to basically like tomorrow with your certificate, we'll also try to share share a form with you. Can you fill that form to suggest us what topics are you looking for so that we can do much topic centric workshop instead of doing a generic workshop? Will that be fine for all of you? Because see, we have enough resources, we have enough people who can basically teach state of the art, best of the best, cutting edge tools and technologies out there. Whatever is new in the entire domain of generative AI, we have skill set to deliver that. All right, we are at that level right now where we can deliver everything in data science, we can deliver everything in deep learning, machine learning, generative AI. But for that, we need to know your understanding. Like if you are not even aware of data science or basic machine learning, you won't be able to understand generative AI, right? So it won't be beneficial for you to learn generative AI at a point where you are not even aware of about basic topics. So we'll try to share a form with you. You try to give us a proper idea about what needs to be delivered or what you want us to deliver. Based upon the maximum voting, like if everybody wants us to deliver Python, we'll try to do a small workshop on maybe understanding Python. If everybody wants us to deliver machine learning, we'll do a small workshop, maybe 1 or 2 days workshop to understand how to start our journey in machine learning and how to learn machine learning, what are basic concepts in machine learning. We'll discuss about them instead of doing a very generic workshop like this. Is that going to be helpful for all of you? Perfect. So wait for an email from our side that will come by tomorrow. And please make sure you fill the form that is enclosed within an email, or it will be a WhatsApp message or an email. Just keep a lookout for both the things. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for coming even on a Sunday. I really appreciate that. But from next time onwards, we'll try to do more topic centric workshops rather than doing a very broad, because see, most of us, we were not even aware of data science, right? So that's why it makes a lot of sense for us to at least understand the area domain a little bit before even jumping into the topics centric workshops. That's all. Thank you so much. See you in the next workshop based upon your votes on the topics. Thank you so much. Take care and have a nice day. Bye. Yes, Innomatics do the proper end-to-end data science courses. They are all paid courses only because we have the premium product where we deliver from scratch till the expert level for data science as well as generative AI. Even full stack development if somebody is interested in that. All right, just call us on our number, or somebody from my team is going to call you and they will explain you the complete offering that we provide as a part of our data science course. I hope I answered your question, Mohit. Cool. So can we end the session? All right, then. So I'll be ending the session now. Thank you so much.